It's windy in the Solace garden today, and it's been like this for coming up to 2 weeks, through the end of June into July. Low skies, wind, sharp showers, but it's really rather lovely. And I'm sitting on the ground here in the garden today because the squirrels are gorging on the nuts in the hazel tree above the meditation seat. And the part of the nut that they don't eat, the husk, they shy down to the ground, releasing them with a little sort of throw from their paws. And if you're sitting there underneath, as I was this morning, there are little bombs going off around you. So unbelievably, or at least it seems so to me, this is the 10th of these films that I began making back in March. And in the very first film, when I was oiling with the paintbrush my meditation platform seat, I was bringing to mind the phrase Kung Fu in Chinese and how it is applied in the practice of Tai Chi and meditation. And I think that's where I'd like to return to today in talking about meditation. So in the last film, I discussed and asked of you where the nature of your meditation comes from and how is it manifest. And some of you chose other words instead of using the word meditation, letting go, forgetting, quietness. And in describing the nature of these words, other softish expressions were used. Feelings of peace and so forth, to describe the nature of the letting go and quietness. I think I would like to bring into the thought process something that is perhaps often left behind, and that is, in the nature of meditation, there is a certain degree of Kung Fu. Sincerity in the work, following the teaching. And I think the word here is work. If I were to use another word for meditation just now, or I might use two words, I think I would say hard work. And to quote myself, actually, you cannot go with nothing into the emptiness of meditation. You have to go through and with something, and that through and with something is training and hard work. To sit down each day, sit with yourself each day, following in the teaching, which is practice. This is training, and this is hard work. And of course, it's one of the reasons why people come together in groups to meditate, for the feeling of support that they draw from others. So sincerity in the work, repetition, means practice. And the practice changes from being something that you do, practicing, and becomes, after some time, something that you have, a practice. So I've been without a direct teacher for some 12 years now. And as I think I said in the previous film, I have, from time to time now, returned to look at some texts, writings of teachers that I admire. And I have found in that experience that my practice, in some way, is reflected there. And I take this as a comfort. And just occasionally, something strikes me when I read it with such force that in wanting to bring it into my own daily practice, I seek out a way of unpacking its truth for me. And one of the ways that I do that is that I'll take an essay or a paragraph of a piece of teaching that I find meaningful and try and put it in my own words. And I find that a way of making teaching personal. And meditation is a personal experience. So I take teaching of a notable teacher, I put it into my own words, and in my practice, I bring it into my own body. This is something that you might like to do for yourselves. And I would also say, in terms of aid to practice, that to make a journal of your meditation over a period can be a useful adjunct to the practice that you're making. And it needn't be long or attempt profundity. Just note down to yourself that you practiced in the morning, the nature of the practice as it was with you that day, and maybe 2 or 3 words or sentences to describe that experience. And in this way, you can develop a continuity. In your training, in your practice. And continuity is at the heart of meditation practice. And gives its name to the rest of this small film. Continuity. Hear what you can see. In a time of ongoing uncertainty, guidance may, with seeming serendipity, appear and open of itself before us. This, at least, has been my experience. In just such a manner, a short, at barely 3 pages, and informal lesson from Shunryo Suzuki opened in the prop of my hand one evening recently at bedtime, and with such potency in its mirroring of my thoughts, reflecting my own path in teaching, that I determined upon waking in the morning to set down its kernel matter as best I could, using my own words. All of the teaching comes from practising, through which a way is transmitted to us. To practice is to open up our mind and experience all the treasures coming from it. In other words, in order to realize our transmitted mind, our mind behind mind, we practice. We should practice right where we are, going step by step, appreciating our everyday lives. There really is no need to travel, what Suzuki calls going sightseeing, from school to school, discipline to discipline. And if you do travel, even though everyone will be friendly and happy to see you, you will surely stretch distance and money. And if you do find a teacher, it will be difficult to understand her or study with him. Better to stay at home, watching yourself going slowly, step by step. If you can go slowly, without any thought of gain, you are already a good student. There is no trick, no secret on the way, no sudden enlightenment, just continuous practice. Slowly you will realize that your practice is your true nature. Even your thinking as you practice is your true nature. What you had previously thought to be your true nature, that part of you that you had educated into representing and being you, is not you. I will ask you, as I ask myself, who is it that continuously practices? And that is not easy to answer, because neither I nor you can determine or see the beginning of the practice, neither its end. Continuous means that it is without end or beginning, even beyond the span of our present life. So it is difficult to say who is practicing right now. One thing we should be clear about is that we are not practicing alone, even where set apart in solitude. We are instead practicing with all the ancestors. This is Suzuki's phrase. I like to say that we are practicing within the ancestral stream, that our practice is without gain or slip, neither good nor bad, that in continuous practice there is no waste in or of time, and that we do not practice for others or for ourselves. Whatever we call it, Tao, Buddha, Wu, practice, verb, and practice, its noun, is and brings forth its own sake, and our fundamental nature. Just practice.